Hey Rovers, in this video we're going to give you a really good boat tour a little bit later on. We're going to tour around the countryside. We're going to do a bunch of fixes for items that came up during the shakedown cruise that needed to be addressed. There's a tearful goodbye from Mrs Rover as she departs, and a well-earned salute to one of our Wave Rover heroes. The Wave Rover 650. A design based on my single-handed ocean voyages. She's small, light, but easy to build, and strong enough to cross any ocean. My name's Alan Mulholland, and this is the Wave Rover story. So this is our mast boot, and what we've done is taken an inner tube and we've just wrapped it around. It was from an old bike, and now I'm just going to, I just bought a new inner tube and I'm going to put it on because we're going to get a test today of about 2 inches of rain, and she did have a little leak, and I'm not sure where. It might be from this crease right here, but we'll go right over that. So I just put another inner tube on the mast boot, so it really has 2 inner tubes, so there's 2 layers, and this one is a brand new one. The other one was about 50 years old, so it probably had cracks in it. So this is looking pretty good. I just want to wrap a bit of tape around it because the inner tube's pretty wide and this band is pretty narrow, so I just want to capture it. I think it's waterproof as we look at it right now. We're going over at this point. We've got the mast, and then we've got all the wedges starting here. Let me just get my big hands out of the way. So the wedges end right here, and the steel partner ends right here. So that's sort of the hard thing to make waterproof. But I think we've got it done. And like I said, we're expecting Hurricane Franklin in a few days, and preceding it we have a nice big rainstorm about to hit us, which is going to be 2 inches of rain over about 12 hours. So we'll see how that goes. Now I'm just going to reverse this up so that it's actually lapped over to shed water. Okay, there we go. Job done. Now I'm just going to put the canvas back over, and the canvas doesn't do anything other than just protect all this from the UV. So that's the only thing the canvas is doing. Now I'm here with a proper Rover Navy hero, Harold, who drove all the way from Connecticut. How long did it take you to get here?
It took me, it took me about 23 hours.
23 hours.
900 miles, 4 hours of sleep, but you know, anything for Alan Mulholland.
That's a proper Rover Navy hero. And he's bringing up the brand new mattresses for Wave Rover, and also, you can't see it, but he also made a sun awning. So we're going to be protected, and what's more, we're going to be very visible.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Thanks so much, Harold.
You're welcome.
So during the passage over, I realized I had to make a few changes to the base of the Mark III, so I've managed to scrounge together a little bit of plywood, and I'm going to be extending this base by a few inches, and I found a little piece of white oak and managed to make this. So we're going to glue it up. Luckily I did bring some epoxy supplies with me, although I did have to buy a scale locally, and right now I have a friend just running out to get some microfibers, which I didn't bring with me, and luckily we're able to get them, we believe, here in Port Hawkesbury. Anyway, it's time to do the glue up. I mean, this is all just part of the whole shakedown process. You you test out what you have, and then you make alterations as needed. I need this self-steering system to work efficiently, otherwise I really can't solo sail.
Mix some fibers here. You're done with the tongue depressor.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're heading out soon. Just saying goodbye. Goodbye, Glenda. The best captain's wife in the world.
Okay. Have a good trip. Bon voyage.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
I'll walk you up to the car. Well, we'll start off with a boat tour. So we'll go right up forward here. And the red bag that you see, that's the series drogue, and it's being held in with cargo netting. There's also a spare anchor in behind it. In fact, 2 anchors up there. And then we just have some rope storage. For now, I just have the rope laying in these little compartments. That will be sorted out at the next port. I need to work out some system to hang it. And then of course we have our first collection of water. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 40 liters of water right here. Then we've got our galley, and the galley is, well, the stove is gimbaled. It's a Dometic stove. It's actually the same stove I had on the old Wave Rover, and it served me really well, so I expect no problems with it this time. We have our galley sink, which is really a bucket, and the pump. The pump I haven't hooked up yet. I just ran out of time, but I have the hose right here, and I have all the fittings, and then there's 2 more water containers right here, and those water containers will be linked up to the pump. We have our electrical compartment here that we've seen on many occasions. And what we have right here, and I'll be going over this later, is this is our Bluetti backup device. It, like I said, we'll go over it later. It's a waterproof version or a water resistant version, and it's pretty cool. It also is my inverter. Then over on this side we have all of our galley supplies for the most part, condiments, and let's see, we have our peas and well, whatever we need in the galley. And then below here, this is where we have probably half of our canned goods and also our eggs. So just shut that. One of these pieces of wood here, the inboard one, or sorry, the outboard one, that's a spare batten. It's made out of ash, and that's to replace one if should we break one on the main. And this is just my boat hook, and I'm just not sure where to hang that boat hook yet, but right now they're secured well. They're not going to move around. So the nav station with my inReach, VHF, and the AIS. The AIS is actually located in here, the blue box. We've got plenty of storage on both sides, and I'll be organizing that more as I move along. Now we've got our massive bunks with the new mattresses. There's a little story I'll share with you on that in a few minutes. And then the bunk over here, I've put a number of hooks in. all over the place, and those are to hang up items, especially when I'm in port. You know, you just don't want to leave your jackets laying around. Chances are, in this massive area back here where I have the dinghy, I have my 4-man dinghy, I have my sun awning, that's the yellow piece of canvas, and then the sail cover, which is the blue piece of canvas. I've got my emergency box with all the emergency supplies. And this is probably the area, because it won't matter if I have wet weather gear, just to stuff it in there. All this stuff is weatherproof. All right, let's hop up on deck and take a quick look at what we have. So some of the changes I've made this time around, I've put a couple of tow boards on each side. And to those I have this container. So this container has 150 feet of anchor rod and 5/16 chain, pretty heavy chain. And then I've got the anchor secured right here, and that's not going anywhere. I've made an extension over the last few days for the Mark III, so from here down has been added while I've been in port here, and that was to change the angle on the control lines heading out to the trim tab. So we'll be using the Mark III this time round. And then over on this side, the tow board will have fuel containers attached to it. I've also added these safety lines. So this is Amsteel blue with a braking strength of 7,700 pounds. And same on this side. And then I've also added this jackstay line, which I'll clip into should I need to go forward. But the thing is, on a junk rig, there's very little need to go forward. The remaining items to go on before I sail tomorrow morning are a safety line, another little jackstay from here to the quarter each side. They're already made up and they're standing by. They're right here. So I'll attach those. The reason I don't have them on right now is they'd be a bit of a tripping hazard for all the in and out I'm doing moving around. Lots of room back here, lots of cargo space. That's a spare anchor in the orange bag. That's a Fortress. It breaks right down. Terrific system, really. Here we are at Ile Madame, and the community is West Arishat. Got some beautiful little houses and fish boats. Just an amazing piece of scenery. Well, Wave Rover's in a great little spot here, hardly moving at all despite these high winds. But we're going to get more of this as Hurricane Franklin works its way through. Well, in the next video, Wave Rover will be leaving Port Hawkesbury bound for the Port of Halifax. It's about 160 miles and most of it is open ocean. It's going to be interesting and it's time to crack on. As always, Rovers, forge your own adventure.